Trump has excluded all 54 African countries from his visa waiver program, and today we're going to discuss why. My name is Ambassador Tim Ford Jr. of the African Union AUCS, and I've been living over in East Africa, Tanzania for almost 5 years now, and I help my people invest, rebuild, and return over to the continent of Africa. But today, we're going to talk about Trump denying all 54 African countries visa waivers into the United States of America. So each African country has been excluded for eligibility for a visa waiver to enter into the United States of America. So this waiver essentially allows travelers to enter into the country for up to 90 days without having an official visa. The Trump administration has included about 40 different countries on this list, and many of these countries are U.S. allies from Europe and Asia, with literally no African or Latin American countries on this list. But my whole thing is, honestly, like, what do we expect? What do you expect? Trump has been talking reckless about Africa for years. Even ever since his last term when he was in office, he's always had a disrespectful outlook on Africa and how things are going on over on the continent. And for years, visa rejection rates has been on the rise for Africans trying to enter into the United States. Semaphore reported saying U.S. high rejections of African student visas steadily rising. Nearly 60% of all students from African countries who applied to study at universities in the United States last year were denied the requisite F1 visa by the State Department, according to a new report. The denial rate for students from Africa was the highest among all regions, but the U.S. State Department insists it has in fact granted more visas in aggregate to African students than ever before. So Semaphore has reported and said that this has been steadily rising for the past few years, but of course America is trying to deny it and say that no, we've steadily allowed Africans to come into our country and have opportunity over here, but the data in the report says otherwise. The reasons the Trump administration cited for not allowing African countries visa waivers into the country is because, number one, they said there were many immigration violations from a lot of the African countries. And number two, they also mentioned that they are worried about the growing risk of frauds. And last but not least, they said increasing security risk. So all of these reasons is why they say they decided to not allow African countries to have the visa waiver opportunity when they decide to come into the country of America. But reports have also indicated that the countries with a high number of visa overstays, asylum seekers, and countries with economic instability has also found traditionally stricter entry standards when they are trying to enter into the United States of America. So under the table, it has always been like this, but they are now putting it on the mainstream and letting everyone know that we are not messing with the continent of Africa right now. Unfortunate. But more than anything, this is a large political move that Trump is making right now. Trump is trying to restrict entry from countries that he feels are a security risk to what America is trying to accomplish and do. And it seems like Trump is not interested in having a good relationship with the continent of Africa at all. I mean, he isn't cool with not one president over on the continent of Africa. He doesn't have a relationship with not a single leader over here from the continent of Africa. And he's never even visited the continent of Africa. From his first term, he hasn't come over here. And since he's been in office so far, he hasn't mentioned coming to Africa. And it's been quite the opposite. He's been talking bad the entire time since he's got back into office about the continent of Africa. He's made some very disrespectful, derogatory remarks, and within his first month in office, he's already created specific tension with South Africa and quoting and saying disrespectful things and lying on what they are doing over in their country. And he's downsized the U.S. Africa Command. And last but certainly not least, he's froze foreign aid over to African nations. It doesn't make sense, but why exclude Africa? A continent that has a rapidly growing young demographic, and it's a continent that's very rich in minerals, which drives America's economic interests, and it will promote tourism, business, and cultural exchange from both cultures if he was to allow the African countries to receive the visa waiver when they decided to come. Critics are confused and concerned to the fairness and the legitimacy of why Trump would restrict Africans from visa-free entry. Will the move to not allow free visa entry to Africans only further ruin the U.S. influence that it has over Africa? And it honestly seems like Trump doesn't really care anyway. Many of the African heads of states have been communicating and working with Russia and possibly siding with them on certain business deals. So in Trump's mind, he's essentially good with trying to work with people on the continent of Africa. And in my opinion, it's time for us to do for ourselves anyway. We don't necessarily have to continue to wait and ask for foreign aid from the United States of America if we are able to do something on our own over here on the continent of Africa. Maybe this is a wake-up call for our people over on the continent of Africa to stop feeling like that they must depend on the Western world and run over there for aid and help. So many of our people that's over here on the continent of Africa or that are from the continent of Africa, their dream is to just go over to America and get into the environment and get into the society, and boom, it's happening. Their life is good. They don't understand the process of going through the immigration process. They don't understand of staying up to date with their paperwork. Some people, now you do have people that's over there taking advantage and handling their business, going to school, doing things properly and trying to take advantage of the system. But in the nutshell, the system is a place that a lot of our people do not have to subjugate themselves to. There's a continent over here where we can build our own systems. Our people don't have to run over there and get trapped in the rat race and lose their mind and not be able to come back to the continent of Africa. When they cited the visa overstays that a lot of our African people have when staying in Africa, when staying over in America, some of our African people, when they go over to America and they get into the society and they learn how difficult it is and how the bills overtake them and how they don't have any freedom and how they can't enjoy their lives, they are afraid to leave and come back to the continent because the people that sent them over there or the people that saw them go over to America, they have such a high expectation for them. So they don't understand what's really going on within the society. So they can't come back to Africa and be like, oh man, look, America is not what you thought. It's tough, it's difficult. I quit, I had to come back. They can't do that. So they have to stay over there and try to figure it out. So a lot of people stay over there and they don't reach the level that they thought they would reach in America. And they don't tell the people about the realities of what's going on in America. So hopefully this will stop a lot of our people from basically going over there and hanging themselves and going into that society when they can stay over here and build something for themselves over on the continent of Africa with their people. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here. I've been doing this work to say we can do this on our own. We don't have to stay and continue to go over there and run to the West and feel like, hey, we must go over here. We must sacrifice leaving our continent in order to go and build in their society. No, take advantage of locking arms with your brothers and sisters. Use the knowledge that we have, the skill set that we have as a people, as a collective, and build with what we have. At some point, we will be as a superpower, and America will have to come back and have their hand out like, hey, my bad, guys. I apologize for being disrespectful. You guys have built something for yourself. We don't have to continue to have our hand out and ask for the help and continue to beg and plead and say, hey, can you please help us, Mr. Western country? No, it's time for us to stand up and do this on our own. So maybe this will be a wake-up call. Our people are starting to see the writing on the wall that nobody's going to come and save us. We have to do it for ourselves. We have to lock arms and do the necessary work to come together as a people for ourselves. This is our time now, and Trump is only shining a light and doing what he's supposed to do. It may be disrespectful. You may feel hurt. Your feelings may be hurt a little bit. But at the end of the day, what is wrong with us staying within our continent and building our continent up? It may hurt your feelings, but at the end of the day, it's not hurting us as a people to do what's being implemented. It may be disrespectful, yeah, but what's the point of being emotional about it? And we can only move forward with the solution. So the solution is, if you can't go over there, why go anyway? Focus on where we have at home on the continent and build the way that we need to build. So when they come back, if they don't, oh well, but we need to have things in place where we are producing things and we don't have to worry about what they're talking about. We don't have to beg and plead for a relationship. We don't have to say, oh, please be my friend. They can come to us and be like, hey, I need you. I'm going to pay you this for that. So it's time to step up and govern ourselves properly and get into the right positions and stand boldly. And this is only forcing us to do that. Everything happens for a reason. It may not feel good while it's going on, But we know why it's happening. So we're going to be good as a people. We're going to move accordingly, and we're going to have to do what we need to do as a people. It's all right. Stay strong and stay focused. Since we're here, got to show y'all some of the products real quick.
This I'm not your body ready. I'm not your body.
Yeah, natural product.
Not your body.
Yeah.
Not your body.
Yeah. Say, yeah. Come closer. Come. Busy Beachy. Now, I'm excited to hear what you guys think, how you feel about what Trump has done. Do you think it's a good thing for all 54 countries, or do you think it's a bad thing? How you think this is going to play out? How do you think they're going to react? Do you think people are going to start hating America? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comment box how you feel about this. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stay tuned to the content that we produce. I will continue to bring forth this type of content with the current events and the African leaders over here who've been doing work for us, past, present, and future. So make sure you stay tuned to the content and keep joining us, all right? And also, if you're thinking about coming over to the continent of Africa, I have 2 free resources that will help you make a smooth transition and have a good vision when you decide to make your move and start your journey. I have a free document and I have a free course that will give you the foundation so that when you decide to come over here, you're good. So if you're interested in getting either of those resources, click the link in the description box and you will have access to it. And also, if you're trying to come over here and you want one-on-one help, I offer that as well. I offer consultations for those who are interested. And we have Swahili courses to help you get competent in the Swahili language so you can come over here and handle your business. So if you want one of those resources, once again, click the link in the description box and you can sign up and we got you, all right? Now, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I don't take this for granted. And I hope this content was able to bring you some value, all right? Y'all stay focused out there. Don't let these people stop your shalom peace, and don't let these people take you off your path, all right? Y'all stay focused out there. Shalom.